Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Brain.
And I'm your co-host, Anna. As always, we're here to help you grow not just in English, but also in confidence mindset and personal strength.
Today's episode is a little different. It's not just about words or grammar. It's about something deeper, learning to focus only on yourself and staying silent.
That's right. In a world that's so loud where everyone wants to be seen and heard, staying silent can feel unusual, even uncomfortable.
But sometimes, silence is where the real growth happens. When you stop trying to impress others, stop comparing, stop reacting, and instead start focusing only on your path, everything begins to change.
It's powerful. And if you're learning English, this mindset matters more than you might think, because comparison, self-doubt, and outside noise can seriously slow you down.
So today we're going to dig into how focusing on yourself and embracing silence can help you not only speak English better, but also live with more clarity, purpose, and confidence.
We'll talk about why silence is actually a strength, how to ignore distractions, how to build inner focus, and yes, even how staying silent can improve your English practice.
If you've ever felt overwhelmed, distracted, or like you're falling behind, this episode is for you. So grab your headphones, take a deep breath, and let's dive in.
Let's begin.
So Anna, let's get into it. You know, we live in a time where being loud and visible is often seen as powerful. But actually, silence can be even more powerful.
Absolutely. Silence isn't about weakness or hiding, it's about control. When you're silent, you're choosing not to react emotionally. You're thinking first. That's strength.
Yeah. I remember reading this quote, "Silence is the sleep that nourishes wisdom." When you're quiet, you start to listen. To others, yes, but more importantly, to yourself.
Exactly. And that kind of listening helps you reflect. When you're not talking all the time, you have space to observe your own thoughts, to understand your emotions, and to choose your words more wisely.
And that connects perfectly with language learning. Many learners feel like they need to speak fast, speak more, show off. But actually, taking time in silence, listening, repeating in your mind, observing, is what helps you grow deeper.
It's like watching a calm lake versus a stormy one. In silence, your mind becomes clearer. You can actually hear what you've learned, and you can feel what you need to improve.
I've seen students who stay silent in class not because they're shy, but because they're focused. They're absorbing everything. And when they do speak, it's clear, thoughtful, and confident.
Yes, silence builds confidence over time. Because you're not speaking just to fill the air, you're speaking with purpose. You're not reacting, you're responding.
And silence also helps you avoid unnecessary conflicts, distractions, and judgments. Sometimes the best answer is no answer.
It's emotional intelligence, really. And let's be honest, learning a language is not just about vocabulary. It's emotional. It's mental. Silence gives your brain the space to organize all of that.
So true. So, if you're someone who feels pressure to keep talking all the time, whether in English or in life, take this as a reminder. It's okay to be silent. It's a strength, not a weakness.
And in the silence, you'll find clarity. You'll hear your own voice, and that's the one that really matters.
So now that we understand the power of silence, let's talk about the problem. Anna, why do you think it's so hard for people to focus on themselves and stay quiet?
Honestly, Brain, it's the noise. Constant notifications, nonstop opinions, people showing off every little success online. It's like the world is shouting at you 24/7.
Exactly. And the more noise we hear, the easier it is to lose our focus. You start comparing yourself with others. They speak better English than me. They're learning faster. Or even, I'm not good enough.
And that comparison steals your peace. Instead of focusing on your own progress, you start chasing someone else's timeline. That's where the distraction begins.
Yes, especially for English learners. Instead of practicing at their own pace, they start worrying, oh, I still make grammar mistakes, or my accent doesn't sound native. And that mindset slows them down.
It's like trying to run a race while staring at the person next to you. You lose balance. You lose direction.
I love that analogy. And this happens with social media too. You open Instagram or YouTube, and suddenly you're comparing yourself to 10 different people in 5 minutes. That's not learning, that's mental overload.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, we're taught to speak louder, do more, post more. But we're rarely taught to pause, reflect, and ask, is this helping me grow or just distracting me?
Right. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your English journey or for your life is to hit mute. Block the noise. Forget what others are doing. And return to your own process.
Yes, because real growth is silent. It's not loud. When a plant grows, you don't hear it, but it's happening, quietly, day by day.
So true. And if you're a listener right now who feels stuck or distracted, remember it's not because you're not capable. It might just be that you're listening to too many voices and forgetting your own.
Exactly. Silence helps you hear that voice again. It's your internal GPS. Without it, you'll always be lost in someone else's noise.
So the goal here is simple: stop comparing. Stop chasing. Start listening to yourself. Stay silent, stay present, and stay focused.
Because that's how you win the real game, not just in English, but in everything.
So Anna, let's go deeper into what it actually means to focus only on yourself. Because some people hear that and think, oh, that sounds selfish, or am I ignoring others?
Yes, that's such a common misunderstanding. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean you don't care about others. It just means that you're not letting other people control your direction, your emotions, or your energy.
Exactly. It means putting your growth first. It means asking, what do I need to improve today? What's my purpose? What's the next step for me? Instead of, what is everyone else doing?
Right. It's about living intentionally. And that's especially powerful when you're learning English. When you focus only on yourself, you stop comparing your English level to someone else's. You stop saying, I'm behind.
And you start saying, this is my journey. You understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and you work quietly and consistently. That's focus. That's power.
You know what I've noticed, Brain? The most confident learners I've met, they don't care what other people think. They're not loud, but they're consistent. They focus on their goals, their practice, their improvement.
Yes, they don't waste time trying to prove anything. They let their results speak. And that only comes when you block out the noise and tune into yourself.
And focusing on yourself also means respecting your own pace. Some people can learn fast, others need more time. But if you're always looking left and right, you'll never move forward. So for our listeners, start asking yourself daily, what do I need right now? What can I do today to grow just 1%? That's what focusing on yourself looks like.
That's so true. When you stay in your own lane, you stay in control. And control brings peace. It brings clarity. And remember, it's not about ignoring the world. It's about not letting the world distract you from who you are becoming.
All right, Brain. Let's talk about something powerful but underrated, staying silent and observing. Not just staying quiet, but watching, learning, and thinking.
Yes, most people think silence is just nothing. But actually, when you combine silence with observation, it becomes a tool. You start noticing things others miss.
Exactly. You notice people's body language, their expressions, how they use certain words in English. You learn not just from books, but from life.
Right. I've seen learners improve their speaking just by listening closely to how native speakers talk, how they say, kind of, actually. These small things only come when you observe carefully.
And when you're silent, you're not just watching others, you're watching yourself. You start noticing your habits, your thoughts, and even your reactions.
That's deep. Because most people speak before they even process what they're feeling. Silence gives you space to respond, not just react.
And it's not just emotional intelligence, it's also strategic. Think about it. When you're silent in a conversation, you can really listen. And when you finally speak, your words have more impact.
Yes, you speak with weight, not just noise. That's powerful, especially when you're learning a language. You may speak less, but when you do speak, people listen.
And here's something practical. If you're in an English class or even watching a video, pause and observe. How is the speaker using intonation? What words are repeated? What emotions are behind the words?
That's where real learning happens in the quiet moments. Observing helps you connect the dots, and silence helps those dots sink in.
So don't be afraid to stay silent and just watch. It doesn't mean you're slow, it means you're smart.
Exactly. Stay silent. Observe deeply. Then, when you speak, speak with clarity and purpose.
That's the kind of learner who goes far and speaks fluently, not just fast.
Okay, Anna, we've talked about the power of silence and observation. But here's a big question. How do we actually train our minds to focus?
Great question. Because honestly, focus doesn't just happen. It's a skill. And like any skill, it takes daily practice.
Exactly. And the first thing I'd say is start small. You don't need to sit in silence for an hour. Start with 5 minutes. No phone, no noise. Just sit, breathe, and be present.
Yes, that's what I do too, just a few minutes every morning. I don't check my phone, I don't talk, I just breathe and think about how I want to feel that day. It's simple but powerful.
Another tool that helps? Journaling. Writing your thoughts down trains your mind to slow down and focus. It's especially great for English learners. You get to practice writing and build mental clarity.
Totally. And you don't have to write essays. Just one sentence a day. Today I feel or today I want to focus on, it makes a difference.
And of course, remove distractions. If your phone keeps pulling you away, put it in another room. Turn off notifications. Set a timer 20 minutes just for you and your English practice.
Boundaries are focus builders. Saying no to distractions is really saying yes to your progress.
You know what else helps? Mindful listening. Just sit and listen to a short English podcast or audio. Not multitasking. Just listening. It's like a workout for your brain.
That's a good one. Focus is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And every time you choose to be intentional, even for 5 minutes, you're building mental strength.
And remember, don't wait to feel motivated. Motivation comes after action. Just start. Sit in silence. Write a sentence. Listen with full attention. That's how focus is trained.
Step by step, quietly, consistently. That's how you take control of your mind and your future. Now, let's get practical. A lot of people might be thinking, okay, I understand silence is powerful, but how can I actually practice English while staying silent?
Great question. And the good news is you can do a lot without even opening your mouth. One of my favorite techniques is silent repetition. You listen to an English sentence and then you repeat it in your mind.
Yes, that's such a powerful tool. Your brain is still practicing the sentence structure, pronunciation, rhythm, even the emotion behind the words, but without the pressure of speaking out loud.
Exactly. It's like training your inner voice to speak English fluently. And over time, that voice becomes faster and more natural.
Another tip is visual thinking in English. When you're walking, cooking, or even cleaning, look at something and describe it silently in English. This is a spoon. It's silver. I use it to eat. You're thinking in English without noise.
That's huge. You're creating your own English environment in your mind. And the more you do that, the more fluent you become, even if no one hears you.
And what about writing? I love telling learners to do short daily reflections in English, just one paragraph. What did I do today? What am I grateful for? It's silent practice, but it's real, deep practice.
Totally agree. Writing helps your brain connect ideas, vocabulary, and grammar. And the best part? You're practicing alone silently and still building real fluency.
Oh, and here's one more. When watching an English video or movie, pause and predict. Watch a scene, pause it, and think silently, what will they say next? That sharpens your understanding so much.
Yes, you're training your brain to anticipate English in real time. That's advanced practice done in silence.
So to our listeners, don't underestimate silent learning. You don't always need to speak out loud to improve. Sometimes your quietest moments are your most productive.
Silence isn't the absence of progress. It's the foundation of it. You know, Anna, all this talk about silence and focus, it really reminds me of a time in my own life when I had to just stop talking and really listen to myself.
Oh, I'm curious what happened.
A few years ago, I was trying to improve my English teaching style. I kept watching others online, comparing, copying, stressing. It wasn't working. One day, I just unplugged everything. No videos, no talking. I sat down with a notebook and asked myself, what kind of teacher do I really want to be? That silence changed everything.
Wow, that's so powerful. You gave yourself space to think without noise. And look at you now, you're doing exactly what you're meant to do.
Thanks. What about you? Have you ever had a moment where staying silent helped you grow?
Definitely. Mine was during university. I used to be very quick to speak, especially in group discussions. One day my professor told me, Anna, try to observe more before you speak. At first I was hurt, but
That's beautiful. Sometimes silence earns more respect than words ever could.
it changed everything. I realized how much I was missing people's ideas, their feelings, the deeper meaning. And funny enough, when I started speaking less, people started listening more. Absolutely. And I think for our listeners, the lesson is this. Silence isn't just about not speaking. It's about hearing your own truth, your direction, and your value.
And the more you stay focused on that, the stronger your voice becomes when it's finally time to use it. All right, Anna, it's time for some listener questions, or at least questions we imagine our listeners might have. Here's a big one. What if my friends or family think I'm being rude or weird for staying silent or focusing only on myself?
That's a great question. It's normal to worry about what others think, but here's the thing. Focusing on yourself isn't about being rude, it's about self-care. You can explain to people that you're taking time to grow, to learn, and that this silence is part of your journey.
Exactly. And sometimes people might not understand at first, but true friends will respect your process. And if they don't, maybe it's time to rethink who you give your energy to.
Here's another imagined question. What if I feel lonely when I stay silent? Isn't silence just being alone?
Great point. Silence can feel lonely, especially at first. But loneliness is about feeling disconnected. Silence is about reconnecting with yourself. Over time, silence becomes a friend, not a punishment.
And for English learners, silence is also a space to practice and improve without fear of mistakes or judgment.
So, if you ever feel lonely or unsure, remember, silence is your safe space. It's your quiet power zone. Wow, Anna, what a journey today, talking about the power of silence and the importance of focusing on yourself.
Absolutely, brain. If there's one thing I want our listeners to take away, it's this. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is strength. It's the quiet foundation for growth, confidence, and real progress.
When you focus on yourself, you're not just learning English, you're learning how to learn better. You're training your mind, building your confidence, and preparing to speak with meaning.
And remember, it's okay to slow down, to pause, and to be quiet, because in those moments, you're becoming the best version of yourself.
Here's a challenge for everyone listening. Try spending just 5 minutes a day in focused silence. No distractions, just you and your thoughts. Notice how it feels. Watch what changes.
And as you do that, remember this quote, focus inward. Speak only when your words are more powerful than silence. Let that guide you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you found value in this episode, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends who are learning English too.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Drop a comment or message us. Until next time, stay focused, stay silent, and keep growing.
See you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.